this video, I'm going to show you the operations, adjustments, and safety features of what you see here. What you have here is a 2000 SX folding machine incorporated with an L-15 label applicator being fed into the UB2 bagger seal. First off, to start your machine, you have your on-off switch here, which of course it's an off now. All you have to do is switch it to the on position. You'll hear the air start, you hear the bagger turn on, and your label applicator will turn on as well. Here is your first stop button, which will shut the machine off. You'll hear the air alleviate. It is one of 3 safety features on this machine. The other is right here. It is our pinch point safety feature. If you get your hand stuck, press this button, it'll shut it off. Lastly is this one here, which is located on the exit of the machine. You also press this one in, you hear the air alleviate, you knowing that it's safe. You twist it to the right and let go, it'll take it out and you'll be able to start the machine. Next, to begin the folding process, is to press the start button, which will make the belts run on the folding machine, which I'm going to do now. As you see, the machine started and you're able to use the machine to fold shirts. This switch here is your jog run switch. If it's on run, the machine will run without you doing a thing. If you have it on jog, which I turned there, the belts will stop. The only way to make the belts turn again is by pressing and holding the start button. Once you let go of the start button, it will stop. It's a good feature to have for if you get a shirt stuck or need to turn the belts without them running repeatedly. And to start it back, you just turn it to run and press the start button again. Down here are your tucker switches, which will move your tuckers that fold your shirt. As far as the right tucker, left tucker, and sleeve tucker goes, you want to leave them where they're at. They're preset to fold your shirt properly. Last switch is the one right here at the bottom right, is your fold width switch. Which if you look inside the machine here, there's numbers 6 through 12. Which is the inches that your shirt will be folded at. There's an arrow pointing at 8.5 right now, which is what I'm going to be folding your shirts width-wise. You can adjust it to be 6 inches wide all the way to 12 inches wide. Next, we have your air regulators that are here. On the left is your feed table regulator, which states 40 psi. Between 40 and 50 is fine. And here is your in-feed pinch point regulator, which controls the gap between your main drive belt and your 4 in-feed green belts. If you have too much of a gap, your shirt will not feed in correctly. If you have too little of a gap, the belts will touch and they will wear down a lot quicker than you want them to. Those are your 2 air regulators, the only 2 air adjustments you have on the folding machine. The last adjustment on the folding machine is your second fold timer, which is located here, numbers 0 to 10. As you can see here, this shirt is folded 11 by 9 and it is perfectly folded. If your timer is off, the fold can come out with the bottom of the shirt above the top of the shirt or vice versa. So if you see the shirt coming out not perfectly folded in that sense, then you need to adjust the second fold timer, which normally is about a 6 to a 5 or 6. Load the shirt, take it off the table where you have it, slide it onto the table. There's numbers here that indicate the length of the shirt that you'll be folding. Right now I have it at 11. And there's a center line, so you want to have it as center as possible. You wave your hand over the photo line, and the shirt will be fed into the machine. As you see here, it comes out beautifully folded. Alright, now that I've shown you how to fold on the folder, I want to show you how to use your label applicator. So you can see on your screen, let's focus in, you have on delay, which is here. When you feed the shirt through, if you notice that the label is a little too high or a little too low on the shirt where you want it to be, that is what number you adjust. If you want it to be lower on the shirt, you'll put a lower number. If you want it to be higher on the shirt, you put a higher number. The label stop, that is referring to down here. As you can see, at the end of this part here, there's a part of the label sticking out. That is what the shirt will hit for it to stick onto the shirt. You're going to want at least half an inch sticking off. It's called your label flag. You want at least half an inch hanging off for it to attach to the shirt. To adjust that, you will adjust the number. You will adjust the number of the label stop, and you will have to press the jog button here if it is too high or too low. To load your labels, you load them as this picture shows here, which, as you can see, I have some labels already loaded for you. I'm going to keep them on there while the machine ships. That way when it gets there you can see how the labels are already looped through. That'll make it very easy for you to go back and forth between changing labels. Here is your label reader. Changing between different labels, you'll have to perform a small test, there's better directions in the book that comes with the label applicator. You can follow it, but what you'll have to do is, you can see that light changes between gap and label right here. This will change to gap and label as it goes through. Once you change to a different label, what you'll have to do is you'll have to hold these two buttons here, hold both of those at the same time, and move the label through so it'll read the gap and the label. You just hold it, and when you hold it, the lights will flash, and once the lights flash, you just do that, and then you should be set up for your new labels. And if you're not changing to a different label, you don't really have to redo that. But if you're changing to a different length label where there's a different gap between the labels, you'll have to perform that test, which there is a better directions of how to do that in the book as well. Lastly, here we have your bagger sealer. If you notice here, there is a switch right here for your bagger. So when you turn that on, the bag will open up for you. Down here, there are two other switches. This switch is for your compression pad. You want to keep that on, which that's the compression pad here. You want to keep it on unless you're not compressing the shirt down when you seal it. Here is your on switch for the machine itself. You have two fuses. If you have a problem with the machine not turning on, or if the wire is not getting hot and sealing the bag, you want to check both of these fuses to make sure they didn't blow. Here you have your heat control, which controls how hot the wire gets. We want to keep that at about 5.5. Your dwell control is how long the seal bar here stays down to seal the bag, which is also at about 5.5. Here is your manual switch. When you press that, it'll manually run the machine. You let it go, or you hold it down until it runs its cycle or anything. It's just a check function. Here are your finger stops, and this is how you adjust them up and down. If you're running a bigger bag, you want to move it a little bit further down. If you're using a smaller bag, you want to move it up. But the photo eye is located down there, which is what reads the shirt and which tells this compression pad to come down, and once the compression pad comes down, the seal bar will come down. So that gives you time to load the shirt and seal the bag. Now to load the shirt, you just push the shirt into the bag, you pull it off with your thumbs, you let it go, and it'll do its thing. Fall right into a bag, into a box for you. And lastly, right here is your cutoff switch. If you press that down, it will not do anything. It will not work. So if you were to push down on here, and you push down on this will not come down, the compression pad will not come down. So you want to make sure that the bags are not sitting on top of this, otherwise the sealer will not go through its function. Alright, lastly I'm going to run a few shirts through so you can see the operation.